What is going on, everybody? This is Chris here with Would You Game, and I want to take this time again to sit down with you all and discuss that Pokemon Presents that we actually got just over 2 weeks ago today, celebrating the 25th year of Pokemon that we have. And we started that off with a montage that showed all the forms of media that Pokemon had touched across. For goodness sake, I mean, it's not just video games or card games we're talking about here. We've got the television show, we've got the manga, there have been movies, there have been so much. Pokemon has just permeated our whole society over the past 25 years, and it's hard to believe that it's been that long since it's released. I remember getting the videotape in the mail when I was just a young kid, and it had the preview of the Pokemon games, it showed the Pokemon show, it showed the trading card game, and I was like, well, this is interesting. And shortly thereafter, it was released for the Game Boy Color, and I started my path on Pokemon Blue, and I have not looked back since. Good times, and I wouldn't trade all that for anything, because I've thoroughly enjoyed the series, and I love to see that it's become more mainstream nowadays. But anyway, I just wanted to take the opportunity to discuss, in particular, the releases that we were shown in this, what we come to expect from the mainline series, and even spin-offs in the future. So the main takeaway from this release was the Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl releases that are coming at the end of this year, probably in November if the track record from Game Freak serves. And this is interesting because this will be one of the first mainline titles that is actually developed by a company other than Game Freak. ILCA, the company who actually did the work on Pokemon Home and did that, has been entrusted with this, and I think that's such a huge thing there to take it out from in-house. Actually, I'm sorry, it's Creatures. The Game Freak is the parent company. Creatures Inc. is the one who does a lot of the work on this. And I gotta say, even though the art style might not be up to everybody's standards and it might not be what you're looking for, I just look forward to the gameplay, because for me, I'm not really there for the character models, for the trainers or anything along those lines. As long as the Pokemon look cool and the animations look awesome, then I'm all for it. And if you saw that Hyper Beam from the Porygon, I think it was, my goodness, that looked epic. So, and it's looking that they're going to try to recreate this to be as much of a reproduction of the original or remastering of it with updated graphics more than anything. Though I've heard speculation that we would get Mega Evolutions, and I do welcome that. I've also heard it's possible that might not be until the following year when some type of DLC a la Platinum comes out or something along those lines. I personally hope from the go we do get Mega Evolutions, just because we had Dynamaxing in the current generation of Sword and Shield, and that made it stand on its own. I think Megas being in this is a good way to differentiate it from the original titles and make it where you have individuals who might want to pick up that title, even if those are people might be individuals who played the previous titles and are just going back just to see the Sinnoh region with Mega Evolutions. I mean, that would be a good take on it. And if we could get some type of Mega Evolutions to go along with the mainline series, the Empoleon, Infernape, and Torterra, that would be awesome. I'd like to see what those look like. So I'm here for it. I'm here for that. I think it's going to be a great game despite the chibi art style. It doesn't bother me as much as it might some others, but I'm looking forward to that, and I know that this is going to be faithful reproduction of the original story, albeit with different artists and designers, but it's going to be a great game nonetheless, and I am excited for that. I'm kind of put my play on hold through Platinum. I hit kind of a wall there. Might go back and try to finish that up before we get to the release of this, because like I said, the region is pretty cool. It's a decent sized region. There's some cool Pokemon and cool designs in that area, minus the Bidoof, of course. But I think this would be a great game for any person. If you're just a first time player to the series, or if you're just trying to revisit the Sinnoh era again, I think you're going to have a good time with this game, as I know I will. So I just have a couple months to wait there, about 9 months, and we'll get to see what that's looking like, maybe 8. But yeah, my kid and I have already divvied up what we're doing. She's getting the Brilliant Diamond, I'm getting the Shining Pearl. I played Pearl back in the day, so it was the original title I played. I never played through Diamond. And she has expressed that she may get Chimchar or Turtwig. I'm hoping she leans to Turtwig, because I prefer Chimchar, but Torterra is nothing to sneeze at either. That dude is a tank once he gets up there. So Either way, I'm good with either of those starters. I'm not going to touch Piplup. It's just one. The water and steel typing is really good for the final evolution, but other than that, there is not much going for that line. And I'm just not that big a fan of those two. Like I said, I like Chimchar a lot and Turtwig, so I'm going to go for that. But yeah, this game's going to be great. It looks good. Like I said, it's a cutesy little art style, much like Let's Go. It's funny to me that even in Sun and Moon, the characters were taller and had long legs running around, and yet we're on the Switch now, a more powerful console, and we got stubby leg little characters running around. Like I said, it's the top-down view. It looks a lot like the original, just beefed up graphics. It looks a lot prettier, a lot more polished, and it's going to be a good time overall. The other title that we got that is a complete game changer for the Pokemon series, and that is Pokemon Legends Arceus. I don't know how to describe this other than maybe Breath of the Wild meets Pokemon, with Pokemon being more action adventure instead of the RPG turn-based that we have. Because we can see when the character, they can dive into grass, they can choose to chunk their Pokeball beside a wild Pokemon and release their partner to attack and weaken them, and then throw a Pokeball manually and catch it. But that is the most interesting part there. We actually get to manually control where the Pokeball goes. So if we want to just go and chunk a Pokeball from the start before we start a battle, you just aim that guy and toss it. And it just is very interesting. I've got a friend who has never been into the Pokemon series. Pokemon simply isn't his thing. And even though he does like certain turn-based games, he just never got into the series. He looked at this and he said, "Oh, that looks pretty cool. It looks like it'd be a good game." And that, to me, this means that it's going to be open to more audiences. We're going to have it appealing to a broader group of gamers than just the traditional Pokemon games that are kind of, we have the same people who love those, myself being one of them. I love those titles, but it's just not for everybody. I can understand that. I understand that it's not going to be, everybody's not going to love this game. It's not going to be what they enjoy, their cup of tea or anything along those lines. But this Legends of Arceus, this looks like it's going to be a game changer, like I said. Even though I'm a fan of the mainline titles, I think that I'm going to enjoy this a lot as well. And what is even more interesting is after the release of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, we don't have to wait all that long. Because according to the Pokemon Presents, this is coming early 2022. It's interesting that we have both these titles in development at this time. One by Creatures and Game Freak nonetheless, and the other by ILCA. But they're going to be releasing, I would say, within a 6-month period from one another. So I think that maybe February, March at the latest of 2022, we're going to get that. And you don't have to wait long. It's a great time to be a Pokemon fan. Not to mention all the Pokemon cards and the special things they're doing right now, releasing things for people. That is, if you can get your hands on any of those Pokemon cards. Goodness, I've been looking into Champion's Path to try to get that shiny Charizard, and I can't find any of those the booster boxes around anywhere. I've seen the boxes that have about 4 booster packs in them, but I'm looking for the Elite Trainer boxes, and I can hardly find those guys at my Walmart. A couple months back, I found about 3 or 4 and bought those. That has been it. But like I said, it is a great time to be alive and be a Pokemon fan, because we're getting so much that it's just a good time. Because, these are going to be some great games, guaranteed it. And I am looking forward to revisiting Diamond and Pearl. Maybe we get that DLC after a year later, including the Platinum storyline and more Mega Evolutions. I'm hoping, like I said, that we get the Mega Evolutions as part of the mainline titles. But we have to wait to get more information about this. I'm excited, and I can't wait to play these games. I don't have to wait a long time, so I'm glad about that. That's one thing good about Nintendo. Usually when something is announced, it comes out not much longer. And like I said, we only have about a little over 8 months to wait, and then we get our hands on Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and then we get to check that out and see what that's all about. See what kind of improvements they've made on those games. But anyway, let me know what you think. What are you going to get? Are you going to get Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl? You have a problem with that art style? Does the chibi really bother you? Are you going to wait for the Legends of Arceus? Pokemon Legends Arceus. because that one you can't complain about the graphics on that. One way or another, they've got something for you. But let me know what you think. Rate, like, subscribe, leave a comment if you haven't already. And if you have any further ideas, let us know. But anyway, this has been Chris here with Woodgie Gaming. Enjoy.